It's only day 2 of the third Ashes test between, of course, Australia and England. But it does seem like slowly but surely any hopes that the English team had of retaining the Ashes, well, they're slipping away. What started out as a tour which was going to be seen as a very competitive one has so far been fairly one-sided. And despite the fact that England made a good start to the third test, as has been the trend during this particular series, they were unable to make that start actually count because it was the Australians who fought back with both bat and ball. So what we're going to do, Harshit and me, is actually go through how it is that the day went. And I remember you and I were discussing yesterday and we said that if England are to actually get them all out for under 350 or so, they'd be considering themselves lucky. Mitchell Starc had other plans, and now look at that. 370 is where Australia is standing, and they'd be thinking, okay, that's a lot more runs than we should have had, and gives us a much bigger buffer to deal with this England side.
You know what Mitch Starc's doing at the moment? Of course, he's been making life easy for his score bowlers, but I think for the batters who bat above him, he may just be telling the team management and the captain that, listen, even if one of your batters isn't performing, I got you covered. Just don't worry much because we've seen him score the second 50. And how much in control was he looking for a tail ender? It sort of bothers me if I'm calling him a tail ender at the moment because he looks like anyone but that right now. Couple of streaky shots in that 54 odd that he scored, but otherwise Mitch Starc looking a man completely in control. The Willows become a very good ally of him just as much as the red, the pink and the white balls already are.
Absolutely. I mean, look, we always known that he is a good batter. We know that he is, for a bowler, a fairly good batter, but I don't think if you had even told him before the series that, listen, you're going to be getting 2 half centuries, I don't think even he would have believed it.
That in the first 3 matches, remember?
Exactly.
He's potentially got 7 more innings.
Exactly. So there is plenty of 50s potentially still left in this tour because, again, as is the case, there's plenty of innings to be played and it's a long,
5.
So there's 5 innings and obviously plenty more chances for him to add to that. And he's probably been one of the better batters of the side, considering where he comes in. Is very surprising, but at the same time, I mean, his valuable contributions. And of course, you have to give some credit as well to the other tail enders, the 2 proper tail enders who they have in Scotty Boland and Nathan Lyon, who hung around long enough to ensure that they would get to that 370 mark. I think anything above that, if they could hang around to 400, would have been something else, but I don't think they're complaining right now.
They wouldn't be complaining right now. However, I don't know how much this Australian side is to go ahead and admit this, but perhaps they would have been a bit nervy given the way that things ended on day 1 stumps, because you knew it was a good batting track. They'd already lost 8 wickets. 370 looked like a par total to me on this kind of a wicket. Against a good side, perhaps Australia would still have been nervy, and where we are after day 2, perhaps Australia would feel, we did well to get to 370. But even where things ended as far as the Australia innings is concerned, I felt it was very much a par sort of a total, and they really needed this kind of a total. Again, as I said, had the opposition been not England and someone else, perhaps these many runs would have just felt okay-ish and it wouldn't have made you feel that much at ease because, like we were talking about, has the pitch really deteriorated from yesterday? I don't see that.
No.
And that will just, tell us how is it that this English side has performed now with the bat in conditions which didn't look very harmful, which didn't look very notorious. The pitch looked good to bat on. Could England have done better? I think my answer to that is yes.
I'd say yes and no. Because again, on one hand, yes to us. And yet, usually speaking, I think once batters got their eye in, there were runs to be had. But we also have to remember, in 2 days of Test match cricket now, that's 18 wickets that have fallen. 9 wickets on average. And sure, I think on both sides, there's a little bit of a propensity for sometimes going for a flashy shot, which means you are getting more wickets. But an average of 9 wickets a day shows that there is definitely something in there for the bowlers. They're getting some assistance, whether that be a good bit of bounce, because we saw a few of the batters being troubled by good bounce. Not a lot of movement, obviously, but then obviously that'll always come out mostly with the new ball and then potentially the old one once it's reversing. But I do think there's something in it for the bowlers. It's not an easy pitch to bat on unless you get your eye in. Because if you look at even the batters who've done well, Starc got his eye in, got a 50. Even the likes of Brook and Root, who got out in the 40s.
You could now name Archer as well. He's looked good.
Archer's looked very good. In fact, I was about to say, I was coming to him saying he's the other tail ender who looked phenomenal. That one shot he hit, it was off Starc of all people, a glorious cover drive. I was watching, I'm like, who am I watching bat here? Is this Jofra Archer? Because with Archer, we know he can wield a long handle. He can clear the rope effortlessly. We saw that even in Brisbane. But he was playing a conventional credential. I'm like, very interesting, very interesting. Yeah. And of course, keeping all that in mind, I think if I'm England, look, it's a bad situation.
Were England really, since we're touching upon this England's batting show, this England team's batting show, were they really outdone by a couple of very good deliveries?
I mean, sure, they were.
Let's try and count.
Yeah, I mean, Harry Brook, I think, got an absolute snorter from Cam Green. That was definitely one.
Crawley?
Yes. I know Lions' 2 wickets were very good.
So you mentioned Brook?
Yeah.
There's Brook over there who almost got squared up. There is Crawley who got squared up.
Even Root's dismissal, it was a good ball.
Yeah, but you felt that...
It was there to be hit.
Yeah. I'd still put it more on Root than on the bowler.
Yeah, that's true.
But I felt Crawley was squared up. Duckett got a very good ball that turn. True. Again, I don't think you could have done anything about that delivery.
That's a good ball.
Yeah.
Same with Brook. Very good ball.
Very good ball. He got a reprieve just a few balls before that. Yeah. Wasn't able to capitalize on it much. But yeah, I'd like to believe, yes, that Brook dismissal was also down to a pretty good delivery. So we've counted 3 dismissals.
There was one unlucky one. One very unlucky one. Jamie Smith. That's what I don't quite understand. And once again, it's unfortunately shown the spotlight on Snicko. Everyone's been talking about Snicko ever since yesterday. Let's, in fact, without wasting any time, take you through this moment. I'll allow Shane to take you through the finer details. What is it that we saw yesterday? That the wrong stump mic audio was taken. We're yet to hear whether this was exactly the case today as well. But you saw pretty much what you had seen yesterday also, that there was a disturbance on the Snickometer, but the ball was somewhere else. Over to Shane to tell us what exactly happened in that moment. So there were 2 instances, by the way, of Jamie Smith kind of getting, let's say, questionable DRS calls. The first came when he was facing a delivery of Pat Cummins, and that delivery was an absolute ripper, rose, and it kind of hit his helmet.
Yeah,
now, but there was a thought process that it could be the glove.
Yeah.
But why I'm nullifying that is because I thought the catch dropped short. Khwaja, it definitely looked like the ball bounced into his hands, and he didn't claim the catch.
However, yes, agreed. Australia, again, some fielders did claim it, some didn't.
He did.
Yeah,
Khwaja was definitely very unsure.
Yeah, and I think if you ask me from the visuals I saw, I would have given it not out.
Yeah, because there was a clear bounce in my
opinion. Bounce, and I wasn't quite sure if the fingers were still underneath. You could see that the fielder was still trying to get to the ball. You hadn't gotten to the ball yet. So that's one. But that is only one side of this particular story.
True.
The other side is...
It came few balls later.
Yes, with Starc, with Cummins also saying that you've got... It was Starc, beg your pardon, saying that you got to sack
it was
the technology.
In one of the middle of the game interviews with the broadcaster, he said that, listen, I think we should sack Snicko. It's one of the worst technologies out there. And after that, this happens. So this was one. And I think, this was a flashpoint that I don't think mattered much, because I've seen some Aussie fans say that, it hit the bat, but it hit the glove. Even if it did hit the glove, I think it would have been given not out because it bounced.
Yeah.
When I watched the replay, there was a clear and obvious bounce when it was settling in his hands. I don't think there was any conclusive evidence to be giving that out.
However, what is the bone of contention with that is the fact that Snicko should have given that as contact with the glove.
Exactly.
Snicko was not able to establish that, and that was disappointing on part of the technology.
And what is worse was the decision where he was actually given out. That was way worse, because if you can see those pictures, look at that. Look at the second image, and you can see how much of a gap there is between the bat and the ball. In that, the one on the right hand side, you can see the bat at the top right corner. Look where the bat is. Look where the ball is.
Look to the right side. Again, the left side, of course, of the screen also tells you there's a gap, but the right side of the screen will tell you that there is daylight between bat and ball.
And look, and the disturbance is crazy. And this, by the way, was one frame after the ball had passed the bat, in which there wasn't anywhere close to being that much of a disturbance.
This is not just murmurs that you see on the Snicko disturbance. This is a proper edge.
Yeah.
This is a proper spike. This is a proper edge, as it would be, but it wasn't.
I mean, how are you giving that out? I understand you're going by the technology, but surely and that's the first one. Look, here it's closer to the bat.
But the left frame will also establish that
it's not close.
Exactly.
And look at the line.
The right frame will possibly give you an illusion that, there may be some sort of contact. But the left side of the screen tells you, no, Shivam, the other one. Yeah, the left side of the screen will establish the fact that there is, again, I think I can pass through that gap.
Exactly. There is so much daylight, you could have several Boeings fly through over there. I mean, look at how much gap there is, and there's still a disturbance. And then if you go look at the frame which was after, and by the way, these were frame by frame. So if you look at the other one, Shivam, the one which is yes, no, not this one, not this one.
Is the previous one.
This is the previous one. Yes. See, that's frame by frame. Okay. Look at the frame. Look at how much of a disturbance is there when you can see that there is even more daylight between the bat and ball.
And on the Snicko, the reading sort of increased, the disturbance increased, the spike has gotten thicker over there. And that's this Nico saying, oh, maybe this is the point of contact, but where is the contact?
There is no contact. So what exactly is it picking up?
Yeah.
I don't get it.
And this is where you need the umpires to be applying a little more of that common sense.
Yeah.
You need to be not just going by the textbook. Technology can go wrong. Yes, the manual may suggest that you've got to go with the evidence, but there is something called the visual evidence as well, and that visual evidence tells you that there is daylight. And basis that, it's good enough reason for you to be giving it not out.
Exactly. I don't care if there's a disturbance, if you could see very clearly that there is no edge. See, if that were very close to his bat and if there was an edge, eyes closed, this is not even a controversy.
It's as if the game saying, the game shut its eyes to technology and saying, okay, whatever you tell me, I believe you. I'm not going to apply any of my senses. Whatever you tell me, I follow that. But we cannot. We know that there is always a margin. Till date, it's been years. It's been more than a decade until now. You have umpires call for a reason.
Because
there's been greats of the game like Virat Kohli and so many others who've questioned the technology. Who said if it's hitting, it's hitting. But no, you're always looking for that 0.1% margin of error as well, because technology is not so foolproof. And you use that. Why do you have the DRS system the way that it is right now? Because there is room for technological error as well. This is basic.
Yeah, this is very basic. If you look at that image, it's bad because there is such an obvious gap that you could actually just say, no, this is not out. I think this is an error of the technology.
If a young kid sees this, they'll be like, what sport is there? I don't want to be a part of this sport.
Exactly. And by the way, this is nothing new. In this same series itself, I remember J.V. Smith was caught up in another DRS controversy. I think it was in the last test. He's had some bad luck with DRS controversies where again it looked like a questionable edge call where he was playing at it and the edge was there and it's like again there's daylight. So I don't understand what's going on with Snicko.
You really got a question, and there has to be a review about this, because it's instances like these that have a big result, a big impact on the eventual result of the series, of the match as well. And you can't have a high profile series. In fact, a series doesn't have to be high profile. Cricket must have uniform standards, even if it's local cricket for that matter. You cannot. This is international cricket. This is the pinnacle of the sport. Correct. And if this young boy or girl goes on to see this, they'll be like, well, this is a joke. This is an absolute joke. There is no sense of consistency. And what is with umpires, decision makers being compelled to follow the technology when there is visual evidence of you not going for technology or not going exactly the way that technology wants you to go?
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing. And I mean, I've seen this with cricket. I think is one sport obviously which embraced technology early. You've seen even in football when they embrace VAR. Whilst I do believe that the FIFA implementation of it, be it for World Cups in 2018 to 22, was fairly this thing. You remember the amount of issues that you had in England in particular when it came to implementation, because you were changing the way it was implemented for one. And you were trying to give more and more leeway for the human side of things. But that error, that was there for a reason. Because when you're looking back at some of those replays, sometimes the contact looks worse than it actually is. Yeah. Sometimes the contact will actually look worse upon replay.
The thing with VR, I've come to realize that, Shane, now is everything that you see in slow-mo will look as something with malice. Exactly. It will look like a malicious challenge. The more you slow it down,
and the more you keep seeing it.
Yeah, exactly. Just a little tap like this
can seem malicious.
Exactly, it can seem malicious. It can seem as my desire to cause hurt to the opponent. It's not always the case.
Exactly.
What did you see? VAR missed that Casemiro, I remember last year, was given a red card for grabbing the neck of one of the opposition players. There's a similar instance that happened 2 nights back in that match against Bournemouth. Where was VAR then?
Exactly.
Nothing really happening. Again, there's problems there as well. However, with cricket, it's the basics that are going wrong. Very basic of there being visual evidence of the ball being in another galaxy altogether and the bat being on Earth.
Yeah. And you're still giving it out. I would feel very aggrieved, especially when you consider that England have now been on the wrong end of 2 of these decisions. Sure, it doesn't take away from the fact that they'd probably not been in much better position. But they have every
right to be fuming.
But I think I would be aggrieved if it were India at the end of these decisions. I would be saying, listen, what is going on?
You've got to have a review with, I think it is BBG Sports that are doing the DRS for this particular match.
And they've got meters.
Yeah, they're the ones operating the technology, including the SNICO. There has to be a review. Cricket Australia needs to look into it, and this needs ICC intervention as well. Remember, this is not just a bilateral series. This is also now part of the overall World Test Championship cycle, and it's a high-profile series. So the ICC really needs to look into it. You're still left with 2 more matches in this series and a long time to go in this WTC cycle as well. And you got to fix this. This cannot just be an Australia issue. I'm glad you've not seen such glaring errors in other parts of the world, but Australia's got to be hosting other matches as well. And you can't have this technology or the operator. Something needs to change. The technology is being used in other parts of the world as well. Perhaps it's the operators that you need to have a talk with or bring in new operators.
Also, how refreshing is it to basically hear Starc go out and criticize it, saying it's bad, sack them. It's nice, but he's also not wrong. If the bowlers, and by the way, the team here who's saying sack them is the team that's actually benefited from all these decisions. Why are they saying it? Because they know that it looks bad on the sport.
Look at it this way, the moment that the Jamie Smith incident happened, everyone knew, everyone in the stadium could see that there is contact. There was again visual proof. Yesterday what happened where you had at the end of the day Alex Carey admit that he had made contact. He felt that there was a feather and he found it funny. He said that not only was there a feather, it was funny to see the replays. I thought Jamie Smith would be feeling exactly the same. He also, of all people, would have known that there was contact with the glove, but technology fails to get that.
Exactly. And then at this place, he'd be feeling even more aggrieved, saying, I've made no contact, quite clearly. It's visually present.
He would rather have taken that dismissal than the eventual one.
Exactly. Because at least there you could have argued and said, of course, see, in the end, I don't think even that dismissal would have made much of a difference because the catch was unclean. I'm saying, but if the catch was
even clean, if there had to be one contentious decision, I'd rather take that one. It's like choosing between the lesser evil.
Lesser of 2 evils, definitely. This one is like, oh my god, it's so bad. How do you possibly get away with this? But I mean, okay, let's be honest. Obviously, aside from these, there's still a test match going on. 8 wickets have fallen, even of the English side. How much realistically do you think you could see them clawing
back
this 158 runs
158 runs behind. I really don't see England being able to mount a huge challenge.
Isn't happening, definitely.
But even then, they're still very far behind in this match. Very far behind. Remember, the wickets already started to turn just a bit.
But that's enough.
Yes, for somebody like a Nathan Lyon who was dropped in the previous match. Remember, he's going to be proving.
He's got fire in his belly.
He's now become Australia's second leading wicket taker in Test cricket history.
Second or sixth, was it?
Second now. Second
he
in
surpassed?
Test. He's passed Glenn McGrath. McGrath, I think at 563.
Yes,
he's now moved to 564 now, and he's only behind the legendary
Shane Warne.
Yeah.
So that in itself is a major surprise when you're looking at it, how it is that the pitch is playing, and with England also.
So that's why I feel, if England are to be just about 120 odd runs behind, I see another 30-40 runs come from the last couple
Stokes
of batting pairs that are left now.
Archer.
So if there is a lead of about 100 runs, if Australia are to bat the way that they've batted in the series so far, minus of course the first test match, then I do see Australia being comfortable winners of this match.
On day 4, I think.
Of this match as well, for the simple reason there is, again, the fast bowling, there is only one team. There's a clear edge to Australia when it comes to comparing the fast.
And now they've got Cummins back.
They've got Cummins back, and now there's a Lion who's already started to get some sort of purchase. Putting together all of those factors, plus an England side that has had Zach Crawley be the lone bright spot per se with the bat. That tells you everything you need to know. Nothing much happening with the England batting as well. Ollie Pope showed signs, I think, early on in the series, but has again tapered. Harry Brook has gotten starts, not not been
Not
able to
converted them to
capitalize.
big ones.
Joe Root, you will need more and more, but how much more of Joe Root will you extract? You've already gotten 100 from him. Yes, and he's looked good on a couple of instances besides that, but you need more people to be
You need a
putting
better
their hand
support
up.
cast, because otherwise right now all pressure is on him.
Yeah.
England know they can get Root, and Australia know they can get Root, and that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
You've broken the backbone of the batting, and that's not to say there are bad batters there, but they need to be doing more. I would expect more from a Pope. I would expect more from a Ben Duckett. I definitely expect more from a Harry Brook. It's that simple. They need to step up. I don't think this is going to be the test that steps up, though, that where they do. I do think that, I think Australia are winning this by day 4.
Yeah, the very fact that you've seen two tailenders.
Yeah.
In case of Starc, you saw him bat well yesterday and you saw him bat well today.
True.
He had to do bulk of the scoring today to get to his 50, remember. Then you've seen an Archer as well apply himself. So clearly, unless the ball has your name on it, as I would say was the case with a Crawley, a Brook or a Duckett for that. Duckett, I would in fact place right up top. That really was the delivery, that landed exactly in the right spot, turned just a hint, deceived the batter. What do you
Nothing
do?
to be
You
done.
are compelled to go to your front foot.
Yeah.
And so, the point being that with the way things are, with the way that the pitch is, looking more and more like Australia's win again.
Absolutely.
England are not down and out for sure. They're not down
They're
and out.
down, but not out. But it's only a matter of time.
It looks like only a matter of time. I only see so many runs that these last two partnerships can score. If Travis Head does Travis Head things, who knows? We may just have an early conclusion.
Exactly.
We may not need a full day 4 as well. True.
True. Absolutely.
Should we take a look at some of the comments?
Yeah, let's do that actually. And you can go ahead and open them on your phone. I think we have a few. Let's see.
Now it'll open as well.
Yeah, let's do that.
Let's see. And
Shivam, till the time I open it on my phone, could you tell us some comments, please?
Dave Walker is saying, why is there more DRS problems in Australia than in other countries? In the World Gavaskar Trophy, there was problem in DRS.
yeah, that's a good question actually. He's asking why is it that Australia been having more DRS issues as opposed to other nations, because we saw it happen in the BGT as well. Yeah, I think the organizers or the people who are actually facilitating that technology, the operators, need to be had a strict word with and potentially replaced if this continues, because I don't think it impacted the BGT that much, because quite frankly I think India self-imploded in wonderful fashion. But in this series you've seen it happen on 3 occasions now, and I think there needs to be more done. Or just take Starc's advice, sack Sneaker.
That'll be radical though.
Gamer
X VC says that it's clear that there's contact between frames. I think he's talking about the earlier instance involving Jamie Smith and the glove instance. Correct us, Gamer X VC, if we got that right.
In
if we
Smith's
got
case,
that
there
wrong.
was contact, but I don't think the catch is clean.
Yeah, the
first
catch,
instance.
the catch didn't feel clean to me as well.
It clearly bounces.
Dr. Dave Walker with another one says that Duckett's form is a bit of a concern. And
I agree. I think England would have wanted more from him, because of the 2 openers, he was the one coming into this series with form. And it's tapered at the worst time. In fact, I hate saying it, but he's actually been outperformed by Zach Crawley.
Yeah.
So that in itself is surprising.
I like what Anshu Mishra says. He says that Cummins produced an absolute peach to Zach Crawley. That's like asking a UPSC mains question to a Group D student.
Good one.
I like the humor there. Are you, Anshu Mishra, by any chance preparing for UPSC? I like the analogy that you made over there. Oh, Shivam tells us that perhaps you are, but we'd love to hear from you in the comment section. If not right now, perhaps in the evening, then we catch you guys for the dugout. A reminder, it's no match day. So 6:30, we'll be seeing you for the dugout. And how can we end the stream when our producer is left with a question? Shivam has a question for us. Shivam's taking pot shots. Shivam, it's just the start of the day for me. Please be kinder.
He's taking pot shots and asking, Harshit, is Duckett's form a concern for DC?
Again, too early to say. Things change. You're only in December.
Don't look at Test cricket and think about
also,
IPL.
Yeah, that's another argument altogether. However, remember he's gotten better numbers and he's shown much better flair to his game in Test cricket than we've seen in ODI cricket yet. He's got good numbers to begin with. I'm really looking forward. I hope he is a DC starter. Really has me excited. But too much time left from where we are right now. Different formats,
everything.
You rediscover yourself, and so much happens in in the space of what, we're still 3 months away. More than
Exactly,
that.
more than that.
Yeah, a little more than that. So yeah, let's see if that answers your question, Shivam.
Then we could call it quits.
It is. Then catch you guys in the evening, 6:30. Do follow us across social media platforms to know what that topic today is going to be like. We're going to be putting out a post rather soon. Bye bye from Shane and me.
Right.